Hi, welcome to the show. This week's episode is all about creating a 5-year plan for yourself, which is what we do day in and day out. And I absolutely am just craving to do this episode. How are you doing, Kat?
I'm good. I think this is the perfect episode for the new year. I think it can help a lot of people. But even if you listen to this not like the first week of the year, you could do this at any time.
Yeah, I would say to not do it in the beginning of the year. Personally, I always like to kind of get the resolution that I make of going to the gym out of the way in that first week, mess up on it, and then go, okay. No, it's true. I expect my setbacks to happen with any kind of goal you set to always be doing something. So I kind of like to get like the hiccup out of the way and go, okay, now it's imperfect and I can go do it happily. But that's just me and my warped little mind. And we will just leave that for another episode. So when it comes time to do a 5-year plan, Kat, how would you suggest starting out?
Yeah, well, of course, as you know, I love this process. And the very first thing I want to do is like erase the anxiety that people will have when they first hear that, because they're like, whoa, that's a long time. Like, I don't know how to plan my life for that long, or that seems like it's going to be a lot of work. And I think that is like the traditional thing that people think of when you hear 5-year plan. You think it sounds very like corporate-y. It sounds like all that, but that's not what we do here at 5-Year You. So when we work with people on a coaching basis, they come to us, they're feeling trapped. They want something different from their lives. They've gotten to midlife. They're doing everything they're supposed to do, but there's this deep sense of longing of like, I thought life would be more than this. And so when people feel that way, what we've learned through all of our work and helping people is that they really aren't in touch with their authentic selves and their purpose for this life. And so what we do is a 5-week, it's called 5 Weeks to Future You program, where we walk people through all of the different ways and aspects of their life where they can get back into touch with what they really want. At the end of the 5-week session, we give them the 5-year plan. Of course, you can do this yourself. So that's what we're going to walk through today.
Yeah. And it's really great once you get that clarity, because I find that, a lot of people go, well, does it really take 5 years? It's never been my experience that it takes 5 years. It's that you need to get clarity. And in those 5 weeks, you're going to get so much clarity about what you are wanting from your life and who you are and how you want to show up in this world. And with our support, you start to feel like you can show up authentically in your day to day. And when you do that, everything just starts shifting around you. I know I've seen it. You've seen it. We've had a few clients see it. It's really, because we just started doing this program on a more formal basis at this point. Mm-hmm. It's been really, really good to watch the transformations happen so much faster than we could imagine. So I'm really excited for you, listener, to be able to start doing this. So what's the first step, Kat?
Well, again, we are like the opposite of corporate culture. If you're watching it watching us on YouTube, you'll see, we're full of rainbows and all kinds of things in the background here. And, we really come from, a feeling basis and a heart for helping people. And so the very first step that we do is a little bit different, because what I want people to do who are listening is I want you to give yourself a couple minutes, and I want you to write yourself a letter from your future self. And so maybe explain how people can do that, Andrew.
So the way I always do it, and we have a guided meditation to help you with this on the site if you want to give it a try. It's much easier than trying to think forward. What you do is you get in a relaxed state and you talk with yourself 5 years from now. So when you're doing that, and we go through the guided process. It's really fun, but you can get ideas from your future self that isn't trying to think of the step-by-step process to get there. And that's really what you're doing in day-to-day form. Is like, okay, if I start saving $1 a day, then I'm going to save 360. But we don't kind of think 5 years from now, I want to be, A, B, and C. I want to have this kind of lifestyle. You can go and talk with your 5-year self. And it's so cool, because the advice that you get from yourself is a little blow your mind at times. Like, I've had things come back to me. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I knew that. And it kind of feels like you're making it up, but it is, and it isn't. It's a wild process, but it is very, very authentically you. because you're
Yeah.
getting to be in touch with that person that is the best version of yourself 5 years from now.
Yeah. So we get really granular. So if you were to close your eyes and pretend that you're meeting the 5 year version of yourself, what do they look like? What are you wearing? What house are you in when you open up your eyes? What do you have for breakfast? Like, hang out with yourself for a day. And I know this might sound woo woo if you haven't encountered something like this before, but it is an incredibly powerful exercise. Like Andrew said, it might surprise you. Like if I close my eyes and my 5 year version of myself wasn't wearing yoga pants, I'd be very surprised as to
Yeah.
why she's very dressed up for the day or whatever. But, you will kind of catch yourself off guard, let yourself dream a bit. And when you do that, when you ask yourself, where do I live? Who am I with? What am I wearing? What do I look like? What do I feel like day to day? You give yourself a bit of a framework to go off of in terms of creating your plan for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in the camp of the whole woo being like this felt weird the first time I did it, but Bert Goldman created this process called quantum leaping, I think is actually what it
Yeah,
was
quantum
called, like
leaping.
like
Yeah.
the old TV show. But it was basically you were able to carry yourself into the future and then see yourself. And when you do that, that kind of analytical mind that kind of takes us through our day to day of driving cars and writing reports and all the other stuff, you really are able to look back and kind of see that. More importantly, you start to get into the feeling of what that is. And it's very much an energetic feeling, which I know when we talk about energy, there's like this whole, stereotype around it. But the reality is we're all made up of molecules and energy. And there's a lot of stuff that I think science is just kind of catching up to that a lot of people have done for centuries. And we're just kind of going, okay, this is how it is. So when you get into that place where you're able to actually interact with yourself and you can ask, like, I have gone with problems today and I'll be like, why am I so worried about this thing? And they just go like, honestly, haven't thought about that in 5 years. You're going to be okay with that. And you kind of go, oh, this has like
Yeah.
been preoccupying my mind, and this future version of myself is now telling me don't
Yep.
don't worry
Don't worry
about
about
it.
it.
And you're like, oh, okay. And that's not something that my ego mind would come up with in this moment because clearly it's been focused on that.
Yeah.
So when you start to look at yourself, just start getting that idea like, okay, and I'm going to use myself in this example. Like, who is 5 year Andrew? What does he do? He gets up early. He is in good shape. He is doing habits that are seamless because he took time over those years to kind of cement them into place. And you start kind of thinking like, how do I think on a daily basis? Am I problem solving or am I problem focused? And I'm definitely much more solving at that point for myself. Definitely, I would do that for other people. That's my role. But, for myself, kind of taking myself past that question of what's the thing that's going to happen today, more of like, how can I help myself get through this problem? It's just the way I look at this version of myself is that I'm on the riverbank and 5 year me is on the island and there's a stream in front of us that I got to navigate. And it's already going like, yeah, you got this already. You just need to keep coming back and just step here, don't step here. Yeah, you're going to slip and fall in the water once in a while. It's going to get cold. That was part of it. That's the thing you had to learn. Don't beat yourself up. But as you go through it, you really start to get that feeling. And I will do this every morning. I'll go into my meditation and I will talk with my 5 year self and go like, what do I need to know for today? And, sometimes it's just, you got to eat a little healthier today. That was a lot of pizza last night. And other times it's just, yeah, you know what? You did good. You got up, you're doing the right things, and just pay attention to what shows up in the day. Be present. And this clarity that comes from that 5 year plan that we give you, it starts to give you permission in your mind today to start being like that, because you start to realize I don't have to wait 5 years to be the problem solver instead of the problem finder. I don't have to wait 5 years to have that healthy attitude about sleep and diet and exercise, I don't have to wait. I can start
Yeah.
doing these things. I'm going to sidetrack here a little bit. Kat, you and I this year, our magic word, our word for the year was health.
Yeah.
And we switched a lot. Like I think the us of this time last year is looking at us going like, dang, you guys really did that. But that was our 5-year version of our health, was like,
That's
yes,
right.
let's get off the things that hurt us. Let's find the things that aren't working for us. Let's start doing more of the stuff that does work. And I'm being broad intentionally right now, but it's just having that accountability partner, that friend that, we offer to each other, but we also offer it to our coaching clients to be like, look, you're a seed right now. You are growing into the 5-year version of yourself. And when you are able to have a couple of reliable people that are going to foster your growth for the first year and onwards, if you want, you get a better rooting. And when you have good roots, you grow a lot faster. It's when you don't have the support structure in place that you revert back. I mean, I know for myself that if I had been around the people that were eating different foods and didn't exercise and didn't do all these things, I probably would have reverted back to that. But I needed to have those key players in my life that were supporting my growth, because in the beginning you're just starting out, you're a seed, and you really need that support to help you grow. And when you have that support, you grow so much faster.
I love that. And I think that is the energy that you bring into, let's say, the more pen to paper version of what's next. So we teach something called the layers of life. And we see your life and our lives, right, as having 5 main layers. We call it the 5 S's, because it's your soul, yourself, social, substance, and your significance. And you think of the inner layer of you as your soul or your spirit or whatever you believe, but it's the light inside of you that makes you you. And then we go all the way to the outer layers, and the outer layers are, society, your title at work, your social media follower counts, your, the physical things in life. There's nothing wrong with those things, but we find that people experience the most challenges when they are living their life from the outside in, meaning they are making all of their decisions based on what society has told them looks good, they should have, based on where they went to school and what they did and the kind of jobs they had. It leaves people feeling so unfulfilled. So our goal is to help people through our coaching process and this proprietary framework of the layers of life to start making decisions and living their life from the inside out. And so what I tell our clients to do is to write these 5 S's down in 5 columns and sort of write what you hope for each one. So for soul, which is how you feel and your purpose, we ask you to kind of dig deep. We have a journaling prompts. This is what we walk you through in coaching. But if you're not ready for that yet, you can still do this on your own by thinking through these things. What is something I've always wanted to do? What is something I loved doing as a kid? What is something I wish I could do, but I just don't think it's going to pay the bills? What would I do if I knew for sure that it couldn't fail and money was no object? What would I do if there were no barriers? Like, what would I solve? Who would I help? How would I show up in the world? And we want you to write this down in the column without worry or concern of what other people would think about it. And so, Andrew, would you want to give some examples of self? Like what you would put in a self column?
So once you find your soul, your kind of purpose, that thing that lights you up, the thing that really charges you throughout your day, then you work on yourself. And yourself is comprised of usually 4 main aspects. It's your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual. And we want you to kind of look at yourself and go, who do I really want to be? Not for anybody else. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be somebody that is, physically active, just moderately active, not active at all? What kind of thoughts do I want to have? Do I want to have more happier thoughts? Do I want to be more positive? Do I want to be more engaging? And then we start thinking about the spiritual side of it, and it's really spirituality is a big topic. So we'll just kind of leave it as just really coming down to, what do you believe in? Is it just a future version of yourself? Is it God? Is it some sort of universal energy? It's totally up to you, but you need clarity in that, just for your own sake. There's no right or wrong reasons. It's just you need to know. And then, we've talked about mental, physical, and spiritual. The emotional part is also key because, as we talked so much before, your thoughts become feelings. So if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling like just awful, we have both been there, and we had to identify our thoughts. So all these things kind of work together, but they're also all very independent, where you get clarity and go, you know what? I want to wake up with hope. I want to wake up excited for my day. I just want to wake up calm. Everybody's got their own thing, and it's your version. And the nice thing is, when you get to that state finally, which doesn't often take the full 5 years, you can start to kind of reassess and go, now what do I want to feel? Okay, I wake up calm now. Now, you know what? I want to wake up excited. I want to think of every day as an adventure, and they all kind of tie in together. So that's self. Do you want to talk about social, Kat?
Yeah. So social is a really interesting one. Those are your relationships and your community. And interestingly enough, our most popular podcast episode this year was how to find friends as adults. This is a chronic problem. And it's like, we all kind of joke like, oh, it's so hard to find friends as a grown up. But the truth is, and like at the core of that thing that we kind of joke about, is that people are lonely. We have lost our tribes. We have lost our community. Everyone's like, oh, it takes a village to raise a child. And all the moms are like, where's my village? Like, we have been so isolated, and we have been conditioned from social media to only show the best sides of ourselves, never to let anyone know that we're suffering, that we really don't have a real sense of community. And so I want you to write down in the social column what 5-year you has in terms of a community. Now, it could be maybe a strengthened relationship with your spouse that is a lot stronger than it is today. Maybe it's reconnecting with old friends who you've lost touch with over the years. Maybe it's that you move to a new place and you want to get to know people. Right? Like I always say, like, you see that cute mom in yoga class, you always like her outfits. Like, this in this column is where we would say, I want to have more friends, which takes time and energy and effort to cultivate. And that is really what people are lacking. They're not lacking the desire for a better community. They're lacking the time and energy to cultivate it. And so these are the things we write down in the social section. How do you want your life to look? How many people do you want to be the one to call and say, look, I got to bring a kid to the ER. Will you come over and stay with my other kid, or whatever it is? These people that are with you, and they can be hard to find, but this is all about setting intention and putting the energy out there of what you're hoping for and looking for in this life. All right. Next one is substance.
Okay. So substance can be categorized by time. It's where are you spending, how are you spending your days, months, weeks, years, not in that order, whatever order you want. I don't know. But with substance, what we get you to focus on in that column is, first of all, what do you want to do recreationally? And, I think that's a counterintuitive one for a lot of us, because we're like, well, I want to get this job that does this and this. I'm like, you've already done that. It's not making you happy. So we're going to take the other way up now, and we're going to look at things and go, what do you enjoy doing? Because if you have a job that you have to stay in right now for the next little bit while you work on the next part, knowing what you love to do is really important. My son loves to fish. My dad loves to fish. I'm allergic to fish. They have their things. Some people love sports. Some people just love going for walks in nature. But you need to know how you want to spend your recreation time first. Then you start to think about what you want to do for work. And for me, this is my life. I love talking with people. I love helping people. And if I could stay awake 24 hours and do that without suffering massive sleep deprivation, I would do that because it lights me up. And I honestly just love every moment of it. But for a lot of people, you got to think about your occupation, the recreation, and through that, we start thinking about the lifestyle that we want. And a lot of times when people do that lifestyle, they might kind of look at it and go, I don't maybe need more stuff, or maybe the place I have is like sucking the time from my recreation and I need a smaller place, or I need to outsource stuff. A million different ways to handle it, but you get clear on it. And once you get clear on this lifestyle that you really want to have, that is so much more than just a job and a title, you start to create this life that you feel good about. And you're able to look at things and go, okay, what are the finances that are required to live this life? And from our experience, that once you get clear on, your soul, yourself, and your social, the time and the finances aren't probably what they are right now. They're often less because we're often doing a lot of things to keep up with everybody else around us. Everybody else on the street got a new car, so I got to go get a new car. Everybody else got landscaping, I got to get landscaping. And we're playing this keep up game that you didn't really ever remember signing up for, but
So
somehow,
true.
you're
Somehow you
in
do
it.
it.
Yeah. And what we really help you gain permission to look at and go is, look, I don't have to play this game. I didn't sign up for it. I got, roped into it, and now I'm kind of, peace out. I'm done. And that is the big part of substance, is just knowing how you want to spend your time. And once you are spending a life that's happy, the finances are very, very different around that than when you are living a life that is um, for everybody else.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, we actually love this part of coaching, like this substance section. Andrew is an accountant. I wrote a money book. And so people feel comfortable talking about money to us because we are so non-judgmental. And, we've made our own mistakes, and we've seen people in a lot of different, um, you know, versions of lives and restarting and different ages and all kinds of things. And we love helping people with this part of it. Whether we can help you see a way to reprioritize how you spend your finances to be more in line with your life's purpose, whether you need some help seeing a way out of debt and things like that. Like we do bring our experience and our financial expertise into this part of coaching. And if anyone got like queasy out there, like, oh, I'm not talking about money to anyone, just know that like we are very non-judgmental of that part of it, and we love helping people with it. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the last part is, like Catherine just alluded to, we have walked the walk, and so now we talk the talk. And there is a
Yes.
lot in there where it's we are on the ground level with you, going through things and going, yeah, we know what debt payments are like. We know, grocery
Mm-hmm.
prices are really high right now, and we're able to relate to you in a meaningful way. And we find that most people are really eager to talk to us about money, but everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Yeah. So the final part, the outer ring of the circle, earlier when I was describing it, I was saying, it's like the stuff of life and whatever. But when you go and you view that outer ring from the inside out, what the outer ring becomes when you're looking at it from the point of view of you, your authenticity, who you are, who you want to be, that outer ring becomes your significance. What legacy do you want to leave? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? What mark do you want to leave on this world? And it's probably not that you were able to buy the biggest house on the street. It's going to be, how did you make people feel? How did you impact them? And so for this section of the columns, we want you to write down like your deepest wish. What do you hope, if you have kids or you have nieces and nephews, what do you hope they say about you? What do you hope the people that you work with or you help, what do you want to leave people with? What is going to be your mark on this world? And the 5-year you version might, know of some of these things, but what can we do to work towards that? Right. And it can be absolutely anything, as small as like, you've always wanted to, volunteer in a soup kitchen, all the way up to like you want your name on a building, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you. And again, this is from a totally non-judgmental space. And so we look at these things. You should have, whatever, a piece of paper, computer, doc or whatever with these 5 columns, these 5 S's. You should have an idea of like what you want your life to look like. And so we take all of this information and coaching and we create a 5-year plan. And then we meet with you once a month after that for the first year. And we give you suggestions on things you can do to help you become the person you want to be. We very much thrive on accountability, and that's why we do it this way. So it can be something as simple as like for your substance and your time, we might say, see where your money went last month. Like pull up your bank account and your credit card statements and like, maybe you've never done that before and it's eye opening. Or for social, we might be like, say hi to the cute mom in the cute yoga outfit, a yoga class, and, start. We're not saying that person's going to be your best friend, but what we're doing is we're helping you energetically and through the habits that you're developing, becoming the person that you want to be, becoming the type of person who goes from feeling trapped and anxious and maybe like, bordering on depression and not liking your life to someone that says hi to people in a class, right? We are helping you become the best version of yourself. And so we end this 5 weeks of coaching where we go through each S, 1 per week. And then you get homework, you get some tips to start living out your life. And if you're doing this on your own and maybe you're trying to figure out, what's my soul's purpose? It's just like, writing down answers to those questions I talked about. And if your soul's purpose is to help people through art, well, maybe one of your action items is I'm going to ask my partner for 2 hours every Sunday to paint. And I'm going to just tell myself that my dreams are worth it and my time is worth it. And I'm going to like set this boundary and ask for this support because my dreams matter to me. And so that can be the first thing you write down as your action item. And that's how it goes. That's how you do it a little bit at a time. This gives you permission to change your plan over time. You look at it every quarter, you give yourself new action items, and you have our support for the first year along the way. By the end of the first year, you might be a lot closer than you think. We really underestimate what we can do in a couple years.
Absolutely. And I think when you are doing these plans for every month and whatnot, we really do get you to focus on some micro habits, and we have techniques that we use to help you put them into place a lot easier than it might be doing it on your own. The idea is that when you shift 1% every month or however often you feel called to do it, you will see these changes, and these changes, they compound quite quickly and they stack and they add up, and suddenly you are doing things completely different, but it didn't feel like the best example I can have is like, it's not like going cold turkey or, quitting smoking, something like that. It's a very purposeful, intentional walking of your journey where you may not have been doing that before. Most people, when we meet them, they feel stuck on their journey and they don't even know which way to go. And that's why we go through this whole process, is so that you can start enjoying your life. You can start creating the life you deserve, and you deserve an amazing life. We all do. You just need clarity. And then when you have clarity and purpose, you can move forward with intentionality. And that is the most important thing. Those are the 3 things that you need in your life.
Absolutely love that. And I think that's a good place to end. We really hope that if you're listening to this around the holidays, that you have a wonderful holiday season. And we hope that this 5-year plan has, first of all, given you an idea of the type of work we do and how we can help you. If you're interested, just send us an email at hello@5yearyou. And if not, we hope that it at least gives you a framework to use to work through it yourself and maybe a different way of thinking about things from your typical 5-year plan. And we're always rooting for you and we wish you the best. And we can't wait to see how this helps people.
Absolutely. And if you want that meditation, go to 5yearyou.com/future. That's 5yearyou.com/future. And you'll be able to download it and listen to it every morning if you want to, like I do. It's my voice. I am still getting used to hearing my voice in my ears when I do the meditation, but it's a little easier.
Guys.
It's very soothing. But thank you again for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Hey, it's Andrew. Are you feeling stuck in your life right now, kind of not sure where to go or what your next steps are? We've created a coaching program for you to help you discover your path, and we call it 5 Weeks to Future You. So what you'll get is 2-to-1 coaching with Catherine and I over 5 weeks while we help you figure out what the next steps are in your life. We offer a complimentary call. You just have to go to 5yearyou.com to check it out and set up your call with us to see if we're a good fit. I know from my own experience that it is incredibly hard to do this on your own, and that's why we're offering these coaching calls. We're only going to work with 5 people at a time to make sure that we can give you the attention that you truly deserve. So head on over to 5yearyou.com to get started.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.